All right. So I'm really excited to bring Miss December on to this mini interview series. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself. And first, I'd like to welcome all the viewers. If you're considering joining the Enchanted Burlesque Coven, that part of this coven is I bring in my favorite experts and teachers so that you have access to all the magic that inspires me. So I welcome you, Miss December. Tell us your name, your business, and your website, and then we'll get into our discussion.
Okay, I'm December Fields Bryant, and I am the badass witch behind startwitchin.com, where I encourage other people to stop bitching and start witching. And I'm all about people stop pretending you're powerless and step into your magic and make what you desire happen in the world. And you can find me at startwitchin.com or on social media, startwitchin.
Great. Excellent. So I welcome you and all your excellence and genius. And I want to start off this discussion by asking you how you knew that this was your, I don't say calling, but this was your path. This is the legacy that you want to bring to the world.
Okay. Well, I'll try and keep it without making it into the Odyssey. My mother told me when I was very little, she had some postpartum issues, and she said when it was at its worst, she literally laid me down and said, I give you to God. What happens with you in your life and your well-being, I give it to God. And, it's her word for the divine. It's for her word for, whatever creates us. And she kind of set me on that journey from infancy, in my opinion. And then at age 10, I discovered that witches are real. And in the library, as I'm meandering around with my first little library card, looking all excited, and I discovered witchcraft. And I was like, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. I want to be the girl on the cover of the witchcraft book. And when I was in college, and I went to a Christian college, despite my own proclivities, and I met a woman who read tarot professionally, and she said, why aren't you doing this? And I said, because, you're not supposed to. This is taboo. You're not supposed to do this. And she took me under her wing, taught me how to be a professional tarot reader, and I translated that. And I knew in 2009 that I wanted to be a professional witch. This is the only thing I want to do with the rest of my life. This is what makes me happy. I just got to figure out how to do it. And the seeds of Start Witching were planted then.
Beautiful. And to describe a little bit into, because the term witch comes with a lot, and people have just mixed ideas. What does your life in a snapshot look like?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just tweeted this yesterday. It's so funny. You and I are so into alignment right now. People ask me that actually a lot. Like, what does a witch do? What does that look like in your life? And being a witch to me looks like hanging out in my husband's Star Wars t-shirt, sipping tea while my son sleeps, and drawing sigils, which are magical symbols that are kind of like the visual form of an affirmation, and putting that on a notebook along with a receipt and some scraps of paper, lighting a candle and praying. And then hours later getting a call of, I want to set up a guidance session with you, and bam, a bill is paid. That's what witchcraft looks like to me.
Beautiful.
And that is a very normal day for me.
Great. Thank you for that, because I think it comes with a lot of people being like, wow, some stuff. And so what would you say is what would you give people, like women that are interested in coming out of the broom closet, like I've heard you say before, like, what is the most okay, or what is the moment you felt it was okay to come out and build your business and share with the world who you are and this is your lifestyle?
let's see. I think it became okay for me to do this because I came out and then returned to the broom closet because I got scared because I met major disapproval. It was not okay for me to be a witch. So I returned, and then I came out again when I found out that it didn't matter what I did. I towed the line. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I was a very good girl. And when I found out that that was going to meet with disapproval as well, like I wasn't going to make anybody happy doing that, including myself. Like I was still having the same issues. I still had the money issues. I still had the family issues. I still had, I mean, everything was the same. Nothing got better by me doing that. So I said, screw it. If it's going to go bad no matter what, then I'm going to be who I want to be. And I was blessed to have my soulmate in my life at that time who supported me when nobody else did. And I realized that it was okay and even better to be who I was going to be after I had that, dark night of the soul type of situation. And then made my life choices based on witchcraft were better. I had more money. I had travel. I had my husband. I had, and then finally the people who didn't approve now are seeking advice and telling me they're proud of me. And it took a little time, but I think it was a few years ago when it was finally like it hit me, and this was probably about, I want to say 2 years after I finally was like, no, I'm a witch. I'm going to own that I'm a witch. So it did take some time. I'm not going to say it happened overnight because I don't think anything happens that way. But when I found out that nothing was going to get better by pretending I'm something that I'm not, and then within about a 2-year time span, I finally started, like I said, hearing, I'm proud of you, as well as it no longer mattered to me if they were proud of me.
Great. Beautiful. And then before we get to discussing what you're going to bring to the coven, what would you say is religion built into being a witch? Like, how do you look at religion?
Okay. Being a witch, of course, has witchcraft is different for every witch. It's just the practice. It's a skill more than it's a religion, because I know witches of every religion. I know Jewish witches and Christian witches and Buddhist witches and atheist witches and all that. But for me personally, my witchcraft is tied into my religion because for people who haven't studied religion, I say that I'm a pagan polytheist, meaning I believe in many gods, and I think nature and spirits and all that work in our realm and are real. For people who are a little bit more educated about that or know about that, I say I'm a co-creationist.
Love that. I love that.
And that means that, yes, gods are real, spirits are real, energies are real, and we are real. And we have power just like they do to affect our world around us. And we work with these other entities and energies to make magic happen.
Beautiful. That's beautifully said.
Thank you.
So we had started chatting about what would be most exciting for you to bring to the women of the coven, and you had started talking about archetypes. And every woman in this coven is magically creative. They're putting something out into the world. It could be their business, their art, their creativity. And so tell us a little bit about what you had been talking about archetypes and how that's supportive when in a group of creative women.
Okay. Well, a little backstory on archetypes. If you look up archetypes, it's gonna bring up probably one of the first Google things is gonna be Carl Jung, who is a psychologist who was very into the woo-woo. Like, he fully embraced dream work and astrology and mythology and legends and all that stuff, because he said these are huge parts of the human experience. We can't ignore them. And I love Carl Jung. And like I told you, he's my man. I love him. But he came at archetypes, and he came at this whole concept from a very masculine perspective, which he was a man. You know, this is his experience in the world, especially, you know, turn of the century experience. So, you know, no blame, no shade there. But we've evolved since then, and we now have a female perspective on archetypes. And where he kind of brought up the hero's journey, which we see even in metaphysics with tarot and astrology and all that stuff, we can now kind of see the heroine's journey. And where he had archetypes like the hero, the magician, the sage, you know, all these other ones, we also can bring in the witch, the sorceress or enchantress, the sacred bitch, the sacred whore, you know, the virgin. We can bring those into play. And what's really fun about playing with archetypes, because I have been working with the archetype of the sacred bitch and the witch for a few years now, and starting to share that with other people with my work. And when you embody an archetype, it can open up a new pathway of how you express yourself within your creation.
Yeah, I mean, right? Lines. I'm already excited about like the magic work they're gonna get from you after giving the class that you show up at. Wow.
Well, it's like what we were talking about when you first came on. You were talking about my look, my makeup, my background, my white clothes, and if you go on my website, everything's black and white and very. I had a friend say it's like American Horror Story without, you know, the crazy.
Love it.
And it's because when I embraced the witch archetype, I said, what would I look like embodying this archetype if I were witch, capital letters, like this is the title, and I fully embodied that? What would I look like? What would I act like? What would I feel like? And this is slowly in the process of becoming more like that vision I had. And this is what, especially if you have a business, when you sit and do this, this is what business people call branding.
Genius.
It is so much more fun and playful and sexy and cool than branding.
Branding, when people say branding, I think about like cattle, you know, like being...
Or if you're like part of like the body modification or BDSM community, I was like, that doesn't sound like fun. This sounds like not fun. Can we not?
I think I say this a lot, is like, if it's not fun, I ain't doing it. And so this is so fun. Imagine what it would be like to embody each different archetype and then run your business from there. So fun.
Right. And that's so much more fun than like sitting there and talking about, well, this is how you choose your colors and create your logo. And then let's study about, I find that fun. I'm a little bit of that, you know, nerdy
sometimes
energy right
yeah, but it's got to start somewhere.
But it's a hell of a lot more fun to be like, what would, you know, say you're embracing the queen, what would the queen do? Or the sacred whore, what would she do? What would she find the sexiest? What would she find the most manipulative? What would she find the most, you know, intoxicating? And when you kind of feel that, you automatically are going to get a color, because you're going to think of it in a color. You're going to think of it in a, is it linear? Is it curvier? Is it spiral? Is it, you know, and then when you write down all of this stuff, you get you.
I'm thinking of a couple of women who are already in it, and they are performers, like a singer, one's a stand-up comedian. So to actually think about that, like before you go on stage, to dress in an archetype. Wow.
It's like a whole, what is it called? When you are that part. You aren't just acting. You take on that part. Method acting.
So
it's method acting, but here's the funny thing about it is we all already have these archetypes within us.
Beautiful.
So you're not pretending, you're not taking on a mask, you're pulling it out of yourself.
Beautiful.
And so it's real, and I think that's what a lot of people, when they think of branding or they think of this, it's a facade, it's something that we're just putting on for other people. No, when you truly embrace what it is you want to do with your life, like when people say, well, what do you do? Well, I'm a witch. Like, I don't do witchcraft. Like, that's just part of what I do. I am a witch. And when you can fully embrace that, it's such a difference when you talk to people about what you do. Like, what do you do? Well, I am a witch. It's not, well, I kind of do a little bit of this. No, I am. And when you can give that I am statement because you have fully embraced what it is that you are through the archetypal system, it's a game changer. It's
the magnetism. It's like no one ever has to justify confidence. And so when you own it, I am, whatever the I am is, people are just magnetized. They're like, oh, I want that. Because it's that decisiveness of owning. I mean, we could talk about this forever, but it's charismatic when somebody feels confident and shows up who they are. And I love that you're saying that you got really clear on that. It comes from each of us. We all have these archetypes, and some we spend easily time in. Some people are always joyful. Some people are always mischievous, but how do we integrate all parts? And if there's actual stage work involved, which everyone who owns a business or is a real performer, that's part of it. And so
how do you integrate parts that you are uncomfortable with? Like, not all of us are going to hear sacred whore or sacred bitch and be like, that's me. Someone's going to be like, no, I'm more like the awkward virgin back here. Like, let's not even go there. But when you then ask yourself, why am I uncomfortable with that? How could I get more comfortable? It's because you're seeing an aspect, a facet of that archetype that, yes, it's there. Not all archetypes are like fantastic. These are not, pure, good beings that, that demand worship. They're not angels. They are people, or it's like a person where we have good stuff and bad stuff and sins and saints and stuff like that. And when you embrace all of that and you embrace all parts of yourself, that's some major juju magic right there.
Absolutely. I love the clarification. Thank you. Cool. So if people want to know more about you or go on your magic newsletter, because you hand out some cool stuff, you have some really great challenges and all kinds of goodies and spells, how can they find you? Let's just remind them again.
Startwitching.com. And then if you want on the newsletter, you can go to startwitching.com/spell-check. And that will get you my free ebook, which is how to do spells the right way. Perfect. So that they actually work. And then you will be put on our newsletter for Witchmas and all the good stuff I got coming up this year.
Excellent. And as the sun goes down and it gets darker in my place, I want to thank you so much. It's really nice to be in connection with you. And I'm really excited about what the women in the Coven will get from you.
I'm super excited too. Thank you for inviting me to share and be part of this. I love it.
Yes. And I'll put links for the Coven and for your website and information in the box below. And that's it. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you.
Thank you too. Mwah.
Bye.